carnivores, pixies, swords with magical abilities, and Greek and Northern mythology. If that sounds good, well then stick around. Hey everyone, Fina here from Fina Reads. Welcome and welcome back to my channel. Today with a book review. I haven't done one of those in a while. But I just finished this quartet, the Sanyare Chronicles by Megan Haskell, and I need to talk with you about it. I need to gush. It was so much fun. We're following Ray, a human who grew up in the upper realm. Humans are lesser beings in the upper realm, which is full of fae. But despite that, she worked her way up in the messenger service. She grew up with a foster family. Her foster father is very high up in the upper realm army. From him, she learned how to use a sword. And her mother is a seamstress in the court. And one day, Reem is being sent on a message errand to the human realm, but the moment she goes through the portal into the human realm, she's being attacked by the face from the shadow realm. Thanks due to her training, she manages to get away from them. Her pixie companions were a huge help as well. The problem is, because now she had contact with face from the shadow realm, which is forbidden, she technically just forfeit her life. But instead of accepting her fate, she takes matter into her own hand and travels into the shadow realm to figure out who framed her and why. During her journey, she meets dark princes, she meets vampires, dragon horses, she makes a whole lot of new friends, but also meets a bunch of backstabbing traitors. Just for her to realize that her future is much bigger than even she could ever have anticipated, and she is not having an easy time with that. So what did I like about the story? Well, the romance was part of that, even though it is just a side plot of the whole bigger story arc. The romance is very interesting and very well done because yes, it includes yearning. Yes, it includes pining for each other, but it is a very interesting mix of helping with the plot, helping with the character depth of our main character, and just adding a really great flavor to an overall really great story. There's no spice. While they are being together, it's very much like a closed door type of scenario. What I also like is the main character. She makes mistakes, and not small ones. She actually makes pretty huge mistakes, and we follow along as she realizes what mistakes she makes, and then also works on fixing the mistakes she makes and making it up to those she harmed. Also, she's not perfect at everything, which I also very much appreciate. I hate these stories where the main character is just perfect from day one and knows everything immediately. We watch her learn, we watch her adapt, and we watch her also try figure things out because she is not good at everything, and she has to puzzle out like, okay, how can I solve this issue without, my abilities or without help from someone. The magic system is also very interesting. It's kind of a mix of like born with abilities depending on the race you are at, versus you can learn some parts. And what I thought was very interesting, weapons that you can enchant so they enhance the abilities of the wielder, and it's specific for the wielder. So there are some interesting scenes in there that explain how this is done and what it does to the owner of the weapon as well. This is a portal fantasy. We're traveling across 9 realms, and what I find interesting in Megan Haskell's story is that you get a lot of backstory as to how these portals were developed and how these portals came to be, and how all the different fae races traveled across portals and settled in the different realms. And you learn that throughout the 4 books. It's not like an info dump at the beginning of these are the 9 realms. No, you slowly discover them as the story progresses, and Megan Haskell reveals it where it is necessary for the story, and then gives you information about it as part of the plot versus big info dump. In general, there are a lot of known tropes, right? Fae, portal fantasy. There's a lot of Greek mythology and Northern mythology part of the story. But the way Megan Haskell wove this all together, she really made it her own, which makes it a new, unique, fun story. The writing is very accessible. It's super fast-paced, very binge-worthy. In fact, I actually binged book 2, 3, and then the novella that sits between book 3 and 4, because there was a big cliffhanger at the end of book 2. But it's very bingeable, very quick read, super entertaining, a lot of like snarky, witty moments, but also a lot of deep emotional moments where we deal with grief and guilt and, that type of emotions in a very sensitive manner. Having said that though, do not get too attached on some of your characters. And lastly, a thing that I really enjoyed about the book are the Pixie companions. They're fun, they're snarky, they're headstrong. They're very hungry all the time, which makes for some very interesting scenes, a little bit more on the bloody side. So be prepared for that as well, but you will have a good time with them. All right, so just to give you a little bit more detail, this is a finished series. There are 4 main books in the series. There's an additional novella that you should read between book 3 and 4 because that novella gives you the point of view from a different character that you meet in book 2 and 3. While there is a lot of word for word repetition because you're following the same dialogue just out of the perspective of the other character, there's also a lot of important information that you need to then continue with book 4 because there's some things happening in book 4 that this other person needs to explain to you so you understand the background of why those things are happening. Again, completed series. There is a continuation series where the second book in that continuation series was just launched. From a timeline perspective, that sits before our main series, before the Sanyare Chronicles. It's actually about Ray's foster father and how he came to be, his young life essentially while he was younger, and how he met Ray's mother. I don't know if this is going to be a trilogy or also a quartet, and there are some additional novellas that you could read first. Pixie Tamer is one of them. You can get that for free on Megan Haskell's website, and that plays also right before the Sanyare Chronicles, so you can read that without having read the series. So about the author herself, where you can find the books as well, something that I find interesting, Megan Haskell is one of those authors that hasn't for a long time, I don't think ever actually, relied on the Kindle Unlimited universe. So she is not exclusive to Amazon. You can find her on all the big platforms, including her website and including on the Yearn app, which is a new subscription service for fantasy with romance. And as you can see from what I said earlier, very little romance to a whole lot of romance. Megan has been one of the first authors on that platform. It just launched on February 14th, so it's really brand spanking new. All right, I hope I got you excited to give the Sanyare Chronicles by Megan Haskell a try. Again, super fun, fae, portal fantasy with a lot of adventures, with a lot of great characters and races and magical abilities that you get to learn more about throughout the 4 books. If you end up picking it up or if you've read it already, let me know down in the comments. I would love to hear from you and talk with you about this fantastic series. While you're down there, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, the like button. You know how that works. I appreciate you so much. And then I hope I'll see you soon with my next video. Until then, have an amazing rest of your day. Bye.